Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Comedians of Entre Nos live. I've got a great lineup for you guys again today. I'm excited. We'll start off with the first comic. You know him from his own half-hour special, Adorable, streaming now on HBO platforms, HBO Go, HBO Now, HBO On Demand. Adorable, Mr. Orlando Leyba. What's going on, brother?
Everybody. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. How
Are
you
you
doing?
okay?
I'm
Are
good.
you okay?
I'm all right.
You haven't shaved or nothing.
That's
Usually you're
the
the clean guy.
quarantine beard, man.
That's that
A
quarantine.
month. That's all I get.
There you go, buddy. There you go. Thanks for having me back on, man.
Yeah, man. Also on the show, she's been part of the Entre Nos family. She's right now on Netflix's Tiffany Haddish Presents They Ready, Aida Rodriguez.
What's up, guys?
How you doing?
Good. What's going on with you, family?
Look at you. She got her. I'm about to talk politics glasses on.
No, these I need to see glasses. I feel like D nice. These are my about to talk politics glasses.
Oh, you switch it up. Hold up. Let me. All right, and last but not least, we got a special guest. This dude, he's done multiple specials. Right now, the latest one called Till Death is on Amazon Prime. Big round of applause. Steve Trevino.
Am I in?
You're in, brother. What's going on?
Look, I am so happy you put this together. Like, to be able to tell my wife, like, no, babe, I got something to do. This is important. This is for work. I got to work, woman. Let me work.
Right.
But it's like going back to the open mic days. Well, are you getting paid for it? No, but it's going to lead to something.
Right. We quarantine right now. Now, you in Texas, dude. How's it down there?
Well, I'm outside in the fresh air. How's y'all's apartments?
Wow. He's coming after us, all right.
No, you know what? To be honest with you, man, my heart goes out to all the people in New York City, the New York area, my Los Angeles friends, because I know that the climate there is so much different than it is here, you know, and here feels somewhat normal. If I were to say 70 to 75% normal, and the things that I see on the news with LA and New York and the way the streets are shut down and people are quarantining their apartment, I really feel for them, man.
Right. Now, you live on land, because we've talked before, and you're like, you got to come down. I got land. We can hunt. We can farm. And I'm always like, Steve, what?
Well, you know, I always found it funny that people now, like in LA, they're like, hey, we have a chicken coop and we're growing our own vegetables. And I'm like, dude, we've been doing that forever. Growing up, I used to eat duck eggs and goose eggs and chicken eggs because somebody I knew had chickens, ducks, and geese.
Uh-huh.
My dad has a chicken farm, so we grew up. We never ate eggs from the store. He had
brown eggs.
Yeah, he would bring the eggs home. He had in Orlando. He had his chicken farm close to Naples, and it was really weird because we lived in an apartment building, but he would bring home the chicken and the stuff from.
Wait, where was he keeping the chickens if you guys were in an apartment?
He had his own chicken, and then he grew that, and he grew a business. He became a chicken farmer. He moved to Georgia. He used to distribute eggs for Zelda Farms or something like that. He's like one of those people that from the ground up. He started with a few chickens, and then he had thousands and thousands of chickens. I don't eat chicken.
my corporation is with lots of eggs, and I got a phone call from somebody that was like, do you deliver eggs? And the reason that I'm with Lots of Eggs Incorporated is because if you translate to Spanish, it's con muchos huevos.
Uh-huh.
So they looked you up and they were like, oh, we need eggs.
Yeah.
This guy's got muchos huevos, man. We better. And Ida, you're in LA right now, right?
I am. Yeah, I'm in Toluca Lake. It's real hard out here in these Toluca Lake streets.
Man, come on.
I think everybody on this live is doing okay. Like, I think we're all blessed. And even though some people may not be going through the things that we're going through, like we're we are blessed because we're all independent workers. We're contractors. We work for ourselves, and you know, these are the times when we thrive. Because a lot of comedians, we don't like to be around a lot of people and in big crowds. We just like to be on stage talking to them.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so funny to hear the people complaining about what the hardships we're going through is, because like it's first world problems. Like it's been a month. I need a haircut. I don't know how I'm gonna deal. You're like, well, if that's the biggest problem you got right now,
Yeah. Your life is good. Your life is real good.
I
have
can't
it good,
really
Steve. I'm able
stuff.
to, I get to go out. I walk around and whatnot. And me and my wife, we walk. We're real close to Griffin Park, so we do that. And we have our patio area. We get sun every day. We're good. It sucks, because I don't want people to take it the wrong way, but I'm kind of like enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? And it's still, I thought it was going to get old by some time. Like I was going to get the itch, but I'm not, man. Like I'm really enjoying being home, man.
Same.
100%. But I feel bad, but I'm keeping track of like the family. Everybody's good and whatnot. But then I also have that childhood memories of like struggling to my mom getting food in the house, being a single mom and all of that. And I know that there's people going through that. So wherever I see that I can donate a little bit or put the word out, I do. These food banks, these lines are getting longer and longer, brother.
Nice.
Well, I think that's why I got to thank you, Eric. I think that my wife and I, we go live every Wednesday, and the thing that the four of us share with the world is humor. So even if they're sitting at home and we can go off on our Instagrams, our Facebooks, and we're doing this, that people go, hey, something to watch, something different, something live. I thank you, Eric, for putting the four of us together, because I don't know if we'll ever be on stage together, because we're all headliners and we're all doing our own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I was going to say that about the people who said that they need haircuts. Like I've been looking at the videos of those people, and they don't look like people who get haircuts on the regular anyway. Like there was this lady who had she was like, I have to get my roots dyed. And I'm like, this girl did like the mathematic, she was like, you haven't had your roots done in 9 months. This has only happened. Like, it's just so funny to me that you don't desire those things until you can't have them.
Right.
The truth of the matter is that when you look at the people who are arguing about, the Georgia guy, he's like, we're going to open up the gyms. Those people don't go to the gym.
I've been to Georgia. I've been to Georgia. Not a lot of six packs in Georgia.
I'm like, you go into the gym, you don't go to the barber shop, you don't get your nails done. You want Baskin Robbins to be open. Tell the truth.
So now, what have you guys been doing to kill the time during this whole quarantine?
I have been working my butt off, man. I'm a busybody, so I've been, working here at the house. I'm painting. I'm changing out ceiling fans. And the sad part is I'm running out of projects. Every day I wake up to do something, and now I'm like, maybe I'll remodel the upstairs restroom.
Yeah. Now you're just like, no, let me take a beat. I'll save that for tomorrow. Things that you could knock out 2 in a day, you're like, no, I've done that a couple of times where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take a beat. That I could do that.
Oh, Steve, if you want to come over here and take care of some stuff, I'm not going to stop you. My wife's always like, oh, we should do this. I'm like, well, first of all, I have to watch a YouTube video of some 12-year-old tell me how to do that, because I have no idea how to fix that.
Well, the patio that I'm on right now, I built it myself. So,
Wow.
I'm one of these people that when I come off the road, my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are projects anyway, and I'm kicking myself for being like, I just need a month. Like, if I could take a month off, I would love it. And now I'm like, I got to get back on the road, and I'm ready to go to work. And and there's pleasant surprises on the road. I ran into Aida in Florida. She was working Miami. I was working. Was that your last week?
No, the week after that, when I went to Canada, was my last week.
And did you show everybody you broke your arm?
That's when it happened in Canada.
I know.
House of Comedy, baby. I was.
She fell on black guys, she said.
The black ice that I fell
Oh,
on.
oh, black ice.
Let me tell you something. I thought it because I grew up in Miami, right? And I grew up between Miami and New York, but they would leave New York as soon as it would get cold, and we would end up back in Florida. So I never really, you look at people say, "Oh, black ice is dangerous," and you're like Simba. I laugh in the face of danger because you don't. It doesn't look like it. You're like that's. I just plant my feet. Oh my God. When I fell in the intersection, four-car intersection, and I was holding up traffic. This is when I knew that coronavirus had to happen, that humanity was dead, because nobody on that car cared about me falling. All they wanted was me to get out of the way so that they could keep going.
They're like, how many borders did she cross?
Yeah. What was your last show, Steve?
I was at Tommy T's in San Francisco, and we actually ended up canceling that Sunday show. And look, man, I'm not political. I don't want to get political. I just wanted to work, and the city decided it went from, throttling the room from 350 to 200 to 50 on Saturday, and then all of a sudden they go, look, we're just closing down. So that was my last week, was Tommy T's Bay Area.
How about you, Eric? What was the last one?
The last road date was with you when we did DC, and then I was just doing stuff here in town.
Yeah.
So,
Well, my question to you.
I did DC with Eric. We did DC for the Entre Nos comedy tour, the Kennedy Center, and then I flew from DC, and then I flew to Vegas, and I did the Rio. I was at the Rio, and you guys already know, and for those who are watching that don't know, Vegas gigs are usually a week long, 7 days. And so I'm at the Rio at the Comedy Cellar. We pushed on through Saturday. And then Sunday, that Saturday night, man, right before the second show started, I thought they were going to cancel the second show. That's when they told us, hey, Sunday we won't. We're still going to pay you because the Cellar's, first class all the way.
Right.
So we're still going to pay you. My wife flew in to see me since it's so close to LA. I remember getting a little bit nervous, myself. And that Sunday was just a day off. And Monday, we were going to fly back to LA. And then I just called and said, you know what? The way these people are panicking, I feel like they might shut off the flight. So I don't want to have to end up driving back to LA. Let's change our flights. And we flew back that Sunday. Monday, everything was
we did the same thing. And my question to you guys is, and I don't want to scare anybody that has been to my shows, but I think I had it in February. Mm-hmm. I don't know if as many people as we touch, as we're around, I told my wife, I specifically in February telling her I can't breathe and I had flu symptoms.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I just kind of powered through like I do with Dayquil, and I was over it, but I'm pretty sure I had it. Did you guys think you had it?
I did.
I got real sick in like December, January.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I remember I was just like, oh, it's just a bad flu. And the same thing, I powered through it and like, whatever. I didn't think anything of it. And then now you hear these reports, you're like, I think I might have had some of them symptoms.
Yeah, my wife got really, really sick. And but we went to urgent care. They told her, oh, you have the flu. That's what they told her. But they didn't test her or anything. There was no test. She got over it. And me, man, Steve, Ida, and Eric, if you know me from the road, I'm this guy on the road. Yeah. Oh, can I get a hug? Those are very random that I give away hugs. And like right away, the thing has to end. The meet and greet has to end after I've hugged somebody. It's like, we should probably call it a day, because it wasn't that, oh, I'm a germaphobe, but I started doing the pattern that between getting on the airplanes and doing shows that I was getting more and more sick.
Right.
So I've been flying with a mask on, looking like a special, like I'm a terrorist on the airplane with the mask on and everything. And hand sanitizers are a must. I put Vicks Vapor Rub like on my nose. I'm so extra, especially on the planes because people are always farting.
He's not even kidding. We did radio in DC. My man pulled out the Vicks and the hand sanitizer, put it on the table. I was like, "Are you for real? You put gloves?" He goes, "No, I carry it with me all the time." I was like, "What?"
All the time, dude.
And I'm the opposite, man. I hug and hang out and shake hands, and you know, I want to take pictures with everybody, and I put my arm around everybody, and I mean, I think I think we're all like teachers too, where you become immune. You know, I mean, think about all the microphone doesn't change. They don't clean the microphone. You know,
the microphones are gross. Yeah. You know, and when in Miami, I had a meet and greet that was probably the longest meet and greet I've had so far, which was like probably an hour and a half, and I had to come in contact with so many people. But you know, people would laugh at me before coronavirus because I'm a person who will wipe the seats down and wipe the tray down on the airplane because I get sick. And when I was flying back from Canada with my broken wrist and elbow, which I didn't have a cast on yet, I remember struggling because I flew through Seattle.
Aida, you had a broken arm and you didn't get it fixed there?
No, I got it fixed a week later. I got out because
you are a gangster.
With free health care, you're like, you know what?
No, let me tell you why. Because I couldn't just go to the emergency room. And when I was in Canada, they had already started closing down stuff. And I was not going to get stuck in Canada because my kids are here. So I was like, I'm going to get on the plane. I'll just go to the doctor when I get there. Sana punitas. I was just like, I did my hour with my broken wrist and elbow, and I was in excruciating pain. I got in a car at 4:30 in the morning and then I knew I had to fly to Seattle, and Seattle was the hot spot, right? So it was like, I ran through the airport from one airplane to the other. Emery was like, let's get some coffee. I was like, hell no, we're not getting anything in Seattle. We getting straight on the plane and we're getting out of here. And I was wiping everything down. I had my mask on and people were looking at me like I was crazy.
Yeah.
You're crazy. You're the toughest girl I know. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, broken arm, broken elbow, doing comedy. And you already come off aggressive. You probably even angry that they're like, why is she yelling?
She's like the math. What I did, I started doing the math like Aida, because me and Aida are very similar. I started doing the math, and I was noticing that I was getting, I got sick here. Where was I right before I was? I was here. Yeah. And then I'm like you, Steve, where I want to show love to everybody and everything. But now I just put that on ice. I give everybody, and I talk to people. I'm very present. I'm not waiting for the other person that's coming up. I try to connect as possible. But the whole hugging, pound, unless I see it in your face that it's one of those moments that you needed that in your life, I'm not. And then I stopped getting sick.
Other than the interaction with the fans and getting up on stage, are you guys missing the other stuff too? Because once you start traveling, like that part is the best part. You perform, you meet the fan, it's a beautiful thing. But are you missing like the bad hotels, eating at an Applebee's by yourself? Like, are we missing those pieces?
I don't miss hotels because I already struggle in hotels. You know, I sleep in a sleeping bag. I got a lot of phobias.
Hold on, you gotta repeat that again. I did not know this about you. I did not know this about you.
Oh yeah, I don't get under the covers in hotel rooms. That's why.
I'm not this, but a whole sleeping bag.
Yeah, I got Gina Yashere put me onto it. Like, it's a travel sleeping bag, so I put that on top of the bed or whatever, and I put my own stuff under it, and then I sleep. He's seen it. Eric's seen it before.
A friend of mine, he brings his own pillowcase.
I do. I bring my own pillowcase. It helps you. But here's the thing. I actually came up. This was a conversation between me and comedian Patton Oswalt, and we were talking about rock bands, like major rock bands. They travel with certain pieces of furniture or pictures of their family and everything, to put in the hotel rooms because that helps them sleep better. It's that like the smells and the senses and stuff. Right. So we came up with the idea of like, what if right before I leave the house, I take my pillowcase and put that pillowcase, not washed, like the one I just
slept on. Yeah.
and slip it on. And Steve, it works, dude, because it smells like home, and you knocks me out right away.
Well, I mean, but you guys got to realize, for me, I didn't make my career staying in town. You know, I started going on the road when I was 20, and I have been on the road minimum 45 to 48 weeks a year since I was 19 years old.
Wow.
So for me, this has been very, very strange for me. That's 20 years. That's 20 years of every weekend me being on the road. So for me to be idle this long, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I had anxiety attacks this past month. I'm battling depression. It's a big, big change for me. And thank God I have a wife that loves me and understands and has been supportive. But it's been really rough for me.
I can't imagine 48 weeks out of the year, dude. And then you got a little guy at home too, because I've seen you've taken him on some trips, and you get him up on stage. He's adorable, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I do travel with my family as much as possible. You know, and lately it had become almost 3 weeks out of the month.
Right.
That my wife and kid would come. Which, dude, my kid is 4 years old, 4.5, and he's a gold member on American Airlines. I mean, that's insane. He gets upgraded. You know what I mean? But, you know, it's scary, too, because he's about to go into kindergarten, and we're not going to be able to travel like that. So we're trying to take advantage of it, you know?
Well, you know, the thing is, like, I had a lot of anxiety on the road, and I was on the road a lot more this year, in the last couple of years, than I had ever been on the road. And my whole year I was booked till the end of the year. And it's just very humbling to understand that, like, all of it just went away, but everything became so insignificant to me, because all I started thinking about was my well-being and health and my family's well-being. I really panicked about my mom, because my mom is older and immune compromised. And I was just like, I remember, like you said, bitching about being on the road and saying, I just need a break.
Right.
And be careful what you ask for, because that break came out of nowhere. And now we're like, I got an email from a comedy club that said, we don't know when we're going to get back up, because we don't know what the capacity requirements are going to be of clubs per the law. And that became very scary to me, because our business is such a business of interaction with people that it is really on the line right now. Like, a club owner told me today, realistically, I don't know if live stand-up is going to come back this year, because UCB closed down. I did not know that. UCB closed down in New York. They're closed, like, for good. And I was like, this can't be happening. I don't want to be an internet comedian.
Right.
That's a
No, it's very. But I got to ask you, Ida, like, being a female on the road, I can't imagine how hard it is for you to be by yourself, female, not having all of the things that you need, and jumping out of a suitcase week in and week out. It's got to be a lot harder for you. And I'm not being sexist.
No, it's true. It's reality. It's not sexism. It's truth. I've never had, when I remember doing Jeff Garcia's room in Corpus Christi, Texas, and I was on the road by myself, and Jeff Garcia's parents used to always look out for me. Like, they would be like, she's a woman, we have to make sure she's okay. Thank God his mother and his stepfather did. But I was sleeping in my room, and somebody started banging on my door, and there was a flyer on the front desk, because I was staying at a Red Roof Inn, and this guy who was in a farm league baseball player intimidated the girl at the front desk to tell him what room I was in, and he came and banged on my door drunk and was like, "Let me in, I just want to talk to you." And I had a panic attack. I had to call the police. Most guys don't go through that. That's the reality of being a woman on the road. And yes, it gets very, very scary. It can be. I'm a tall woman. I'm not like a 5'4", 80-pound chick, and I still have to worry about my safety. And that's not sexism. That's reality.
It's real. And not to mention, like, my wife, she gets so mad because she women want to change outfits. My wife wants to have all her makeup available. And she's like, Steve, I can't pack a carry-on. Are you out of your mind?
Oh yeah, no.
I mean,
we have to think about things that, the reality of being a woman, things that are uncomfortable that happen to us that don't happen to you as far as being a woman. And you got to take care of yourself. When you go on stage, people have expectations of you, and it becomes another job to you got to think about your safety and your well-being in a way that men don't have to. And you got to be twice as good because you don't want to live up to the false expectation that women are not funny. And you have to deal with the stresses of on your body as a woman of being in a different climate and a different setting every couple of days. And it becomes heavy. When I saw you, I'm from Miami. It was like I was like, oh my God. When Orlando came to San Diego, I was like, oh, because you don't get to see people. And it's like, oh, you feel like you're in prison.
Yeah.
Well, and I also feel like comedians, I've been to parties where the comedian is there. I know he's a comic. We've never met, but for some reason we find ourselves together.
Yeah, I remember Jerry Seinfeld talking about it in Comedians in Cars, that no matter what, it just happens. There's a magnet. If there's another comedian in the room, they've never met. We just end up by, oh.
Yeah, because you share something. You've both gone through certain experiences that you guys can relate to.
But to what Aida spoke about before, I don't think it's gonna be that bad. I think we're of a resilient people, and I think honestly, man, it might sound dumb. I think as soon as I want to call it July, certain clubs will open. I don't think the big theaters are gonna be there anymore. Big places like, Steve, like the West Palm Beach Improv, that's huge. That'll be broken down. It'll be kind of like old school Steve Trevino performing at the Miami Improv, the old Miami Improv downstairs. 300 seaters, perfect, low ceilings.
Yeah, for sure.
And places like the Cellar and Gotham in New York and Houston Improv, all those places they'll be back. At first, people will come in and everybody, but then after a few sneezes and coughs, they'll be like, let's go.
Now, you on stage and you hear that first cough, you hear the laugh. Kick him out. He's got to go.
I also think that different parts of the country are different. I mean, I don't think that New York's going to open in June, but I think Texas might.
Yeah,
parts of Texas might. Montana. I mean, all these states look at Texas. We got 28 million people, and we've had 417 deaths. Now, I'm not saying that we should run out and do whatever. I'm just saying that moving forward, we look at the numbers and the relative to. I think LA's in trouble for a while. I think New York's in trouble for a while.
Do you think Texas isn't being affected as much because of the space between people, or is it because you guys are taking it a little more serious? Because in LA, there are some dumb people. They're like, I'm going to still go hiking. And you're like, stay home. Stop doing this.
It's distance. You look at Houston. Houston has a problem. You look at Dallas, Fort Worth. They have a problem. Those are huge metropolises in Texas. San Antonio has an issue, but Corpus Christi has 2 cases. 2.
Yeah.
So I think it is the distance. I mean, my neighbor is way over there. My other neighbor is way over there. So, I think that in those 2 or 3 weeks that everybody's kind of stayed home, I think it helped. I think it flattened the line. Right. I think that people are crazy that say that it didn't and that we should have just willy-nilly done whatever we wanted. I think that's scary,
The thing is that we don't. My concern is more about not having all of the information, and I think that's the biggest problem that we're dealing with, because people are scared and people are afraid that they're not making money and they're struggling and they want to go back to work. They say when it gets cold, we're going to have another wave of this because this thrives in the cold weather. A lot of people haven't been tested. There are a lot of people walking around like you and I who probably had it, dropped it off somewhere, and we don't have the symptoms. But I do think that it's important to, to take heed about, because my thing is I'm actually doing a fundraiser. So I'm in direct contact with healthcare professionals. And those are the people who have been saying to me, you guys don't even know half of what's really going on. You guys, because if we let you guys know, if people knew what was really happening at the hospitals, they would panic. And, like the healthcare professionals in New York are saying, we have to load bodies into semi trucks because this is not the flu. This is not the flu. Like the flu has never shut down the world. The way that this is contagious is not the flu. Like you got to understand. So I think that the uncertainty of that is what is really driving the fear. And it doesn't help that rich people keep telling us what we need to be doing because they're not affected the way that we are.
To add to that, have you guys watched Pandemic on Netflix?
No.
Okay, so it was a thing they shot last year. It came out before all of this happened, and it was pretty much predicted because they show how flu strains change throughout the years and how these things have happened. So it was them pretty much going, we know the next one is coming, which we're in right now, and we hope we can stop it. And but they're so underfunded, and it's legit like a couple people going and trying to test different either birds or bats. Like they're trying to find species that might carry this next flu strain to try to stop it.
Oh, China found it.
Okay. They found a couple of them.
You know what I watched? I watched Onward. That's what I watched. I was like, oh, I'm not watching. I have been staying away from trauma porn. I was just talking to somebody about this morning. I don't want to watch anything about people getting killed, dying. Like for my own mental health right now, I watched Onward. I cried. I watched it with my kids who are old now. And we were like, it was such a refreshing, sweet movie. I'm not watching Pandemic. I ain't watching What the Beef. I ain't watching none of that shit. I can't do that right now. I need some happy. I'm watching y'all specials.
It's like my mom watching Trauma in the ER. That's all she watches. And then I come home, mijo, you can get kidnapped and murdered. They'll take your liver. I'm like, Ma, you got to stop watching this shit, man. It's like, you got to chill. I'm like, by the way, they don't want my liver. I've already done damage. My
mother too. Like she watches the news and any kind of news in California. She doesn't know like San Jose to LA, like whatever it is. That whole they're killing people up in Pleasanton. I'm like, that's nowhere near me.
Yeah.
Just stay home. Please.
Yeah, my mom is the same way. The fires. Oh, the fires. I'm like, Ma, the earthquakes. Ma, it's nowhere.
Yesterday, and people were like, "Are you guys good?" There was an earthquake. I was like, I thought it was an accident outside. I didn't even feel it. Right.
And then I gotta explain to her like by distance. So she lives in Florida, so I gotta go, Mommy, that happened. Like you're in Miami, and that happened in Orlando. And she goes, wow, that's far. And I go, exactly. That's how far it is.
Well, Texas is the same way. I'll get a text message where like, yo, Trevino, I'm in El Paso, man. Let's say what's up. I'm like,
dude, I used to do that before I started like really traveling. I used to do that all the time. I'd like land in El Paso. Hey, guys, I call my family there in like Arlington. Like, I'm in El Paso. Why don't you guys come? They're like, that's like a all-day drive, dude.
That's 12 hours.
We don't love you that much. I'm like, oh, word? Dang, all right, never mind.
My mom will tell me what's happening in the news, and it will come with an insult. Like she would be like, you know, they kidnapping older women too. This 54 woman is human trafficking. Yeah.
They're getting the gorditas. Be careful.
Yes. Like,
so since you're not watching this trauma porn, what are you watching? Have you watched Love Is Blind, Tiger King? Have you watched any of these? No.
I started watching Tiger King and I stopped. I was just like, I watched the first episode. I'm at a place right now where I am tired of people jacking off on other people doing worse than them. Because I started seeing the tweets, and they were like, "Oh, they're dumb, they're stupid. Look at them; they don't have any teeth." And I've become hyper conscious about that. I was like, I just think we've just gotten so mean that right now, because of the news and all of the stuff that's going on, the polarization with people, the political, I can't. So I've been watching a lot of like, I've been watching like cartoons. I've been watching Pixar, Disney. Like I can't right now. I can't watch that stuff.
I started watching Goliath with Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh yeah, on Amazon.
Dude,
This
first
to Amazon. Look at this.
first season was absolutely amazing, and then the second season I had to bail because Lou Diamond Phillips is playing a Mexicano, and he's a dishwasher, and his kid's a gangbanger, and anything that has that for me now, I just don't support. So,
Richie Valens, he couldn't get a better role.
Yeah, they couldn't put George Lopez. I mean, at least he's Mexican. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the only job a Native American is gonna get on television. They don't even write them into the stories. They're like, "This Mexican, you hear me, Chief Hunter, Winter Hunter?"
Yeah, the Indians are being taken off the butter. They don't even want them on butter. We're just gonna make them disappear altogether. Let's just get rid of them. That white guilt is just getting rid of everybody.
Yeah, no, I've been watching. I just picked it up by accident. Someone recommended it on the BCC, Killing Eve, and they're already on their third season. So it's dope because you can just start at first season, and man, it's like there's times I really like the acting world that I say, man, if once I hit a certain number in the bank account, I like to do like a summer in England, and just go to an acting school and have them yell at me for a little bit. Because,
right.
Man, it's great acting, dude.
I've always wanted to study. Killing Eve is a good because it's lighthearted. It's funny.
Uh-huh.
I like Killing Eve, but I watched Mandalorian and I loved it. But I can't right now. I just can't. I started watching Unorthodox because I saw your email.
I just watched that. I ripped through that whole miniseries.
I didn't go down that journey.
Oh my!
Well, because I grew up in New York, so I would always see the Hasidic Jews with the hats and I just they're like sweet people. And then you watch this show and you're like, oh, they're gangster.
Yeah,
they are legit gangster.
What's this one?
What happened?
What's this one? What is it called?
It's called Unorthodox on Netflix. It's about and I don't want to give too much away. It's about a girl who's in the religion and decides she's out. And then you following her journey and you're learning all about the insides of the religion and what they do to women. And then you watch also as they go, oh, we need to get her back.
Yeah.
So
wow.
It's intense. Because I remember seeing them in New York City and I was like, oh, they just nice people. They keep to themselves. And then I'm watching this. I'm like, they are, wow.
Yeah. You think they're like Amish people. And then Then he pulls out a gun, and you're like, "What the fuck, Hosea? What are you doing, Hosea?" He got two curlers on the side of his head to keep the curls there, and he got a pistol in his hand. I'm like, that does not go together. I stopped at the episode where she has sex with the other guy. That was I couldn't anymore. I was like, it was too heavy.
Latinos just live in denial. I'm not Catholic anymore. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. They just live in that, like, no, yes, you are. You are. You don't know it, but you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched Unorthodox, and then I tried to get into Succession because everybody said it was such a great show.
I watched all of it. I watched all of Succession.
I couldn't get into it. I could not. I tried.
You guys are gonna laugh at me, but I missed the boat on Sopranos. So me and the wife have started Sopranos.
Now
I missed the beginning. There's two shows that I caught up at the end of it, Sopranos and Breaking Bad. So they've actually told me, no, dude, you need to Breaking Bad. You need to go to the beginning,
right?
To the very beginning. And I was like, all right.
See, I'm the same way. I missed the boat on The Wire. I just started that.
Yeah, The Wire is fantastic.
Dude, I was losing friends. Every time I was like, oh, I haven't seen The Wire. Like, oh, we can't talk. So
that's why I was afraid. I was like, guys, I haven't seen Sopranos. Like, I was waiting for what are you, an idiot?
But then I don't know about you, I get nervous, like, because I started watching The Wire. I was like, but what if I don't like it? What if I'm the one guy that watches it, like, it's all right?
The one guy that doesn't like the Beatles.
Yeah. Hey Jude was a little overrated, guys. Right? Right?
Well, look, Chris D'Elia just finished watching. He was watching Breaking Bad. And he said he never watched it, and he was like, "Oh my God, this is the best show ever!" Right? So then people started tweeting him saying, "The Wire? Have you seen The Wire? No, you must not have seen The Wire." And he tweeted, "I have seen The Wire," and it started a racial war on his Twitter page. I said, "Oh, this is the world we live in now. It's too much."
My niece is 16, so I've had a lot of fun watching movies with her. And last weekend, I showed her Dirty Dancing, that movie. And I was, it's that moment where you're like, I hope she likes it. And she freaking loved it. And then what was crazy was she was like, oh my God, I've heard people say nobody puts baby in the corner.
Yeah.
And I never knew where it came from.
Like, you know what you should see if you haven't seen it yet. It's a series on Netflix called The Movies That Made Us, and Dirty Dancing is one of the episodes, and they talk about how they almost didn't make the movie.
I saw that, and so now my niece calls me up. She's like, "Have you seen the movies that made us?" So now she's like into the whole thing, which is really cool. That I was able to introduce her to something that I feel like my dad, right? When my dad would be like, "I know that song. That's a remake," and you're like, "What?"
We're slowly becoming our dads. Mijo, let me show you what real music is.
right.
I watched Purple Rain with my kids and Footloose.
Uh-huh.
And it's funny to see them laugh at me because I thought that was a good movie. They were like, this, because I didn't realize that Prince, when he walked in the house to get his father, he said, "Where are you, motherfucker?" And he turned around in a full spin. And my kids kept pausing it and rewinding it. And they were doing the spin. They were like, "This is acting, Mom. Like, this is what you think is classic." And it was just funny. I never realized that he did the full spin.
Oh, there's nothing worse than watching a movie that you grew up watching, thinking it was the baddest movie ever, then rewatching it through your kids' eyes, and they're like, what is this?
Terminator. But it doesn't matter. Like, to me, like, it's not even like, I love this movie, Top Gun, right? You watch Top Gun.
Yeah.
And if you start comparing it to other movies, you're gonna judge it. But if you just watch the movie for watching the movie, but then I was like, as a kid watching Top Gun, I didn't see all the shower scenes that everybody points out. Like, why are these dudes always in towels?
Dude,
and why are they always so wet? Why are they always so wet?
It's like the Rocky movies. Like, when the Creeds came out, I was like, I'm going to go back and watch the Rocky movies. They were bad. And then you get montages of them, like, running on the beach. I'm like...
And they hug, and they inside the water. And they hug and jump inside the water and splash each other with water. Yeah. And I was just like... Don't ruin this for me, because I didn't see any of that stuff, dude. I was just like, yeah, that would be me and my friends. We're like, yeah, we're happy. But now you're like, dude, that's two grown men splashing water on each other. It was him and Apollo Creed. Oh, Jesus. But the other day they showed Top Gun because, they're getting us geared up for the Maverick movie, right? And then the whole locker room scene, and I'm just watching, and then one dude lays down on the bench like this, and then another dude with a towel on just walks across his head and just like opens his legs and goes across his face. Yeah. And I'm like, huh.
Well, my thing is like, hey, Tom Cruise, how arrogant are you that you're still in the military at 50?
Oh, yeah. Now he owns it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not the instructor? You didn't think to be the instructor? You're still one of the guys?
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. You're 55 years old. You're not the guy.
Whole argument. So I'm really into Top Gun. So the whole argument there is like an actual admiral. They interviewed a Navy admiral for Google, and the Navy admiral goes, the only way he would have still been a captain, because he was a lieutenant, it would be that he served his time, but stayed on the Navy, the National Guard.
Right.
So he stayed on in the National Guard, kept flying weekends, and then something happened, and then he just re-enlisted full time again.
Orlando's really trying to save Top Gun for himself. Look, guys, it can happen.
Yeah, you know what?
I was like, yes.
Try watching Grease with your daughter after High School Musical.
Say hi to everybody.
Night, buddy.
Say hi.
Hey, buddy.
You want to tell him a joke? Okay, tell him a joke.
What's the difference between a snowman and a snow woman?
What's the difference between a snowman and a snow woman?
Yes,
All the answers I have are blue, my man.
Snowball.
Oh,
He's so cute.
he's clean, but he's edgy.
By the way, that's his closer. That is the closer.
He gave you the closer.
It murders.
He's smart. He's smart, dude.
Dude, the cutest thing in the world is when I'm leaving on the road without him, and I say, "All right, mijo," I give him a kiss. I go, "I gotta go on the road," and he'll go, "You can use my jokes."
Oh, I can't believe that. He's so cute. I'm doing his little outfits on Instagram, and I'm like,
oh my gosh, dude! With
So
his little tuxedo.
we're at 45 minutes, but I do have to ask you this because I've always had this thought in my head where, I was the funny kid, but my mom would just try to shut it down. Like, yo, stop making faces and stop, acting out. What type of parent are you? Seeing that does he have an incline to it, or this was just like?
No, I don't want him in this business. I think it's a dirty, horrible business, and it's full of lies and deceit and backstabbing, and I don't ever want him in this business. But him being around it, he's the one that insisted on being on stage, and it got to the point where it's like, dude, you just can't come on stage and wave at everybody, like, so his popo gave him jokes to do, and one joke turned into 5 jokes, and he loves being on stage, and I hope that he grows out of it, because I don't want this life for him. Personally,
but he's coming up, Steve. I think he's coming up in a different time than we all came up in this thing, where he has different avenues where he doesn't have to even mess with let's just refer to it as the dark side of this business, where he could make his own company, his own movement. It's like, because his generation, while the kids that are older than him, they're doing it, like, let's just say refer to it as music, like artists like Chance the Rapper, where the major record labels were coming after him, and he was just like, nah, bro,
I don't need you.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
By the way, I love that Steve was fatherly, like, I don't want him in this business, the backstab. But then the comic in him came out, like, hey, you can't just come out here and wave, bro. You got to have a tight.
You're getting too old. The cuteness is gone now. You got to say something.
You got to put some writing time.
But you know what I love about that question? It's so interesting that you say that, because, somebody who I absolutely think is one of the funniest people on planet Earth is Jesus Trejo. And Jesus really had to overcome that fatherly figure that he has that would always be like, stop being silly.
Yeah.
And when I was on the road with him, I'd be like, no, dude, this is your life now. Mm-hmm. So he mentally had to break that, like, hey, here I can be silly and I'm encouraged to be silly. But he could always picture his dad going, chill out, stop. You're making an ass out of yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So, I think all of us go through that. I mean, my dad is such a big influence on me, and my dad's a very, very serious man. And I had to overcome that. Hey, this is what I love to do, and I don't really care what you think. And I think there's a growth period for some comics like myself and even Jesus, who had to get over that. Like, Jesus would always tell me, my dad would always tell me, stop with the pendejadas. You know what I mean? And he had to get over that. And I think he did, because he's freaking hilarious. But I don't know what happened. Did we lose something?
Erik is, I think, I'm actually writing it in my pilot, is my mom and my grandmother used to always tell me, no man is going to want to marry una payasa.
Right.
And they used to always say, that's not for feminine. That's very, because I love Johnny Carson. And my mom and my grandmother both would say, no man is going to want to marry some goofy chick that's always trying to be funny. and it's actually in my show because I was looking at them like, I'm looking at your choices. And I don't think I want those guys to think, oh, I don't care if those guys like me. But it made an impact because it took me a long time to get to stand up because I had that in the back of my head.
Yeah. My brother, my oldest brother, he's like kind of sort of like a father figure to me also. When my middle brother passed away, he uh he was very emotional, and then like a year later, I remember him seeing I did something, and then he just gave me a call and he said, "Man, go ahead, man, talk about the family." Because that's one thing that I don't know if all three of you have gone through it, where there were certain, everybody's like, haha, oh yeah, you did the Tonight Show and everything. But there's certain things that they're quick to pull the emergency brake on, like, hey, you
Right.
don't talk about this or you don't refer about this. And then they gave me, like, both him and my mother just pretty much, go ahead. Who cares
Yeah,
anymore
go for it.
about
Right.
stories? There's certain stories that that to other people, but we're the ones that are able to deliver those stories in a funny way that everybody can accept it and not feel like they're on the hook. We let them off the hook at the end.
My brother would get up and walk away when I would do the joke about my stepfather getting beat up because that's his real father. And he saw me work out the joke, and he would, as soon as I would start the joke, he would get up and walk out because it was so painful for him to hear a joke about his father getting beat up.
Mm-hmm.
And then before the Netflix special, I had to get permission from my family because I didn't want them to think that I was trying to exploit our experiences, but I wanted them to understand that that was my experience too, and this was my perspective because my brother only saw that from the perspective of that's his father, but he didn't realize that that was what's up, Alvin? He was
Alvin, see it.
my abuser.
It's so funny because my mother, like I talk about
Hold
her.
on, let's say that again because it sounded like you said Alvin was your abuser.
Oh no,
Yeah,
no,
what the heck?
sorry, Alvin. No, I was like, my stepfather was my abuser, and it was my father.
Alvin's aggressive.
Sorry, Alvin. But so it was just interesting to hear because he was like, how could you say that about my father? And I was like, how could you not stand up for me? Like we had this we had to work through that. But I was
like how some family likes it and some family, like my mother loves it. Like when I talk about it, she loves it. She's like, that's me, y'all.
Yeah.
And I remember one time my father ended up finding like you get the DVDs from the clubs, and I was working stuff out, and he played it, and I wasn't home, and he comes home, he goes, I got notes. I don't like the way you talk about me in this joke. And I was like, what? I was like, are you for real right now?
Yeah.
I don't like the way it sounds.
Well, I mean, I had issues with my in-laws because they were like, you're talking about my daughter. And it finally took my wife saying, hey, I don't have a problem with it, so you shouldn't. And, now me and my wife have been together a long time. Now, my father-in-law especially, he loves it. I talk about him. He's out there selling merch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's all about it. But I also think with success and the response from fans, when fans go, it's not malicious, it's funny.
Yeah.
And it's enjoyable to us, then I think people, and then when other fans go up to them and go, oh my God, you're Renee's dad, or you're Steve's dad, or, they get a little bit of, oh yeah, that's me, so I think with success, it helps, right?
Right.
Yeah.
When you're some open micer in front of 8 people and it's uncomfortable as hell in the cellar, yeah, they're going to go, hey, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why are you putting all our business up there?
Yeah.
Nobody's laughing, so they're like, what the hell?
But when you find yourself on Netflix or HBO or Amazon Prime and all the family gets to watch it and enjoy it, I think it's a different feeling.
All right. Well, before we go, I want to wrap up with this. I don't know if you guys saw a couple nights ago, Teddy Riley and Babyface did a versus. What is the equivalent for us, for Latinos? Like, what artists would you guys, if we could choose a versus, who is it going to be?
First of all, that's a funny question because at one point, me and Brett Ernst were in the green room at the in Vegas, and Brett Ernst was telling me the story about Sebastian Maniscalco being in the movie The Irishman, and he
Yeah.
goes, and he looks at me and he goes, Trevino, Sebastian being Italian, and he's like, man, I'm with every famous Italian actor in the world. Can you imagine what that would feel like, Steve? And I go, no, I don't, because I'm Latino.
Yes.
We don't have any De Niros and Pescis, and I go, so no, I don't. So that's why I think your question's funny, but somebody else can answer it.
So I would think Mark Anthony, and it would
Pitbull.
I mean, Pitbull got hits, but you gotta like Pitbull. I don't know, like, so the equivalent of Babyface for us is Emilio Estefan, right? That's our super producer that has produced the music for a lot of big stars. And we have some Latinos that like have produced a lot of great music. Like
I agree with you 100%.
I mean, from Mexico to Puerto Rico, we got a lot.
Yeah. It would be like, if it's music, it would be Emilio, and then the other guy will be like a Luis Miguel.
Yeah.
Because that guy everybody forgets that guy has hits.
Hits.
But I think the question was, Eric, comedy wise.
Well, no, I just meant music wise, and then we could do comedy wise.
Oh, I thought you meant comedy wise. That's what I thought. But.
ain't nobody gonna pay to go see George
Lopez battling George Lopez.
George Lopez versus
Steve,
George Lopez.
Like our equivalent, you don't think? I would say our equivalent of that, Sebastian Maniscalco, and I'm friends with Sebastian, and that was a wonderful moment for him. But Absolutely. I'm glad that you said that. Yeah, I'm not Italian, but right. I think the Edward James I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. That's it would be him. Jimmy Smith is such a bad boy, dude. And who else, dude? Another dude.
What's his name from La Bamba that played the brother? Isai Morales.
Isai Morales, man. He's such a great actor.
Ricky!
And are we claiming Javier Bardem, or is he European?
We can't claim Benjamin Bratt either. So what, Antonio Banderas?
Antonio Banderas is a good actor. Yeah. He evolved into a really good actor because he was a pretty boy. He's the Salma Hayek, the male Salma Hayek. He had to prove himself as an actor. I think he did it. I think Javier.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Antonio is a good actor.
And of course, Michael Peña has the opportunity, and he's a great actor in my opinion. I think he's fantastic at what he does.
Yeah, Michael Peña's great too.
And we're out. We're done. And there's no more.
Then we start reaching.
No, Hector Elizondo is a good actor.
Oh, I love Hector Elizondo. Yeah.
Raul Julia was amazing.
Now you see why we got it. Now we've hit the point where we're naming deceased actors. Oh, the lady who killed Selena and Selena. What's her name?
Lupe Ontiveros.
But I'm saying we've got to that point. Now we're naming dead people.
The thing is, we got to give them their credit. Lupe Ontiveros she paved the way for so many of those Latino actors.
I had the opportunity to meet her, and she was such a lovely lady.
Yeah, no, she was like, because we were talking about playing maids, and she's like, I played the maid so that you don't have to. She was very passionate about that. She was a really good actress.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
All right, well, let's tell everybody where they can find you. We'll start with you, Aida. Where can people find you?
At Funny Aida, I go. I've been going live once a day because I feel like that's all I can do right now.
And let's not forget, you're on Netflix right now streaming. Tiffany
and on HBO, Entre Nos.
HBO Entre Nos, and you got the 1 hour coming out on HBO Max.
We'll see when, but yeah, I'm working.
Are you calling it Quarantina? Is that?
She's calling it Black Ice.
I'm not talking about anything about coronavirus in my special.
No, me either.
All right, Steve, where can people find you?
Well, at Texas Trevino, and of course Amazon Prime, Steve Trevino Till Death, and you know, I'm always putting clips out on Facebook because they're my little baby commercials so that I can go out and meet you and shake your hand live. So, but please continue to support all the comedians that you love. And remember that we're all out of work and some of you are as well. And I know that, but just keep in mind all those entertainers out there that you love. Buy their merch, listen to their podcasts, log on to their stuff. Subscribe to their YouTube. Yeah. The more subscribers,
it costs nothing to help spread the word.
Nothing.
If we
You know,
make
and
you laugh, spread it.
Right. And that means so much to the four of us, because if you're liking, if you're sharing, if you're subscribing to our YouTube, we can turn that into income. So without you having to do anything. So support those talented people that you love, the people that make you laugh, the songs that you sing in the shower. Support those musicians, actors, comedians.
And Orlando, tell people where they can find you, man.
At Hey Lando, just like the name says on the bottom of the screen. And I have a half hour on HBO. HBO Now, HBO Go, HBO On Demand.
All
And
right.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Eric, but to all the frontline people, the truck drivers, the nurses, the doctors, the police officers, the first responders, thank you for putting yourself out there for us. Thank you.
So the guys delivering food, man. Also, like these guys are out there, man. So
Yeah,
I know
also,
you're
I
earning
want to say that if you get groceries delivered, tip these people. These people are not getting tipped, man. Help them out.
not getting tipped, yo. They bringing groceries to your house,
so you don't
and
have
the
to go
people
out there and get sick.
Yeah, I've heard the stories.
Lastly, you guys can find me at Erik Rivera Comedy. I like Orlando. My half hour special is probably right next to his. Super White. HBO Go, HBO Now, HBO On Demand. Go watch it. And like we said, share our work. If you're fans, like, subscribe, follow, and share, guys. Thanks so much.
I can't wait to hug y'all's necks.
Same.
All right, man. Likewise, brother.
All right, take care, guys.